in Norway, so we follow the sport closely there also. And the amount of DMs I got asking what the hell is going on in the 212 class. What's your opinion? I wasn't there. Giles wasn't there. So that's why we want an expert opinion. You're a 212 champion. You were at New York Pro. What's your opinion about the Eduardo versus Ashkanani 212 New York Pro class?
Well, first and foremost, I don't ever want to disrespect anyone. This has nothing to do with Ashkanani. He's a great guy, great competitor. But I, in no way, shape, or form, had him winning.
No, that's what we thought too.
I thought it was a blowout by Eduardo. Eduardo had shape, condition, crazy condition, and enough muscle, you know. It's not like he's small.
No.
He has a few, you know, issues, obviously the tricep, but it was not in any way enough to hold him back from winning in my eyes. I was quite dumbfounded, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. In New York is notorious for being a freak show. You know, the big guys always win. The biggest freak of the day usually wins there. So I'd say if it were any other show, Eduardo would have won. But because it's New York, I think that's kind of the way it went.
I've seen the score sheets, but I don't know whether it was cropped to or something, but I didn't see the first place scores. I could see everybody else's, but there was a couple like chopped off where they'd obviously cropped it. What were the because I can't imagine that Ashkanani got a clear score on that.
Well, from what I heard, Eduardo got a few third place votes.
Third? Well, who's second?
Yeah, so you guys weren't there. Prejudging started off, and they had Ashkanani in the middle.
Yeah.
And then a guy named Kerith Bajo, who ended up in third.
Yeah.
And then Eduardo on the other side of him. At no point did Eduardo stand next to Ashkanani till the very last pose.
What?
Yep, they did everything. They did front double, front lat, side chest, side tricep, ab and thigh. Then they called Eduardo next to Ashkanani, called the most muscular, and said, "Thank you very much, gentlemen." That was it.
Really?
That was the only pose they stood next to each other, which is super frustrating to me because, as you know, I once didn't stand next to him either.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't understand it. I mean, I just don't. I think he should have been next to him for every pose. Now, at the finals, nobody in my eyes was even close to Eduardo and Ashkanani.
Okay.
So they should have had a final call out of Eduardo and Ashkanani.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They had a final call out of 4. So it was kind of confusing. Like the other guys weren't close in my eyes.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against them, but I thought it was close enough that you should have just narrowed it down to those two and really took a good look at it. And you know, that's the way it went. I definitely wouldn't have had it the way it was, but, and I was sitting in the exact row as the judges.
Yeah.
I was to the left of them, so it wasn't really a visual thing. I have good eyesight. The lighting was terrible for everyone, but Eduardo seemed to blow past the lighting.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been posing in the dark, and you could see he was nasty.
Yeah. Two things. I have seen Eduardo a tiny bit dry and a bit tight. I mean, I've seen him, remember the 2012 British Grand Prix that you did? Yeah. And I remember that you and Eduardo were, I remember saying actually in the play-by said that is as good condition as anyone, as any athlete can get. That was like the lifetime best condition I saw you and Eduardo in. So, but even at 95 or 96%, or whatever you want to call it, he still is like ridiculously conditioned. But how was the tricep noticeable?
It wasn't unless you were looking for it. His left arm is slightly smaller than his right arm, but it's still crazy striated. It's still, and he knows how to pose around it. So when he does his side tricep, he uses the other one.
Yeah.
You know, he did a lot of twisting shots in his routine, so you really couldn't zone in on it. Both biceps are very good. So it wasn't a big enough deal for me to say that he lost.
How was the crowd reaction? Oh,
boy, it was loud.
New York.
I think half of Brazil was there because it was deafening boos.
It was, huh?
Really?
But, you know, again, as an athlete, I feel bad that Ashkanani had to stand up there. And, you know, it is what it is, especially in New York. It's a loud crowd.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Vocal.
And
Very vocal.
people were disappointed. It was very vocal, very loud. And, you know, I'm sure it felt good for Eduardo to get some love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still was in second place.